Hi, I'm Kim Murray, and I am a social worker, have been for probably about 15 years now. And I've dealt with a range of people, everything from teenage kids homeless and on probation to senior citizens and helping them age in place. And throughout those years of working with a wide range of people, I've encountered a lot of people who have been victims of sexual assault and molestation and sexual harassment. And you have to find ways to help them deal with that, even when they don't always want to confront that, because without dealing with it, you can't ever move forward. We had an instance of a young woman who had been going to visit her grandparents for a number of years, and it turns out that her father was molesting her, and she didn't want to tell anybody. And then finally, years later, it caught up with her, and she had an emotional breakdown. And you have to get her to talk about it, which is probably the hardest thing, especially with someone they trust. You know, they're afraid they're going to hurt that person. No matter how bad they've been hurt, no matter what's been done to them, they still have that attachment. It's still a parent. It's still someone they love. It's still who they've been brought up to raise, to believe in. And telling that truth of what's been going on makes them realize that they can't trust that person, that it's not as real as what they thought it was. So it's pretty damaging to the psyche and the emotions to even just get it out and admit what's going on. And then the second part of that is when they do finally admit it and say what's going on, they have to decide if they want to tell other people, if they want to pursue it, if they want to press charges, which is an attack on their psyche and emotions again, just in that fact. Because it's one thing to say it, but then to tell other people, to then bring the police into it, to bring social workers into it, to bring all these different areas into something that hurt so bad and was so personal, it's like you're reliving it all over again. And then, of course, each person they tell, they have to tell that story to all over again. So that way those people can help them through it and something can be done. You know, some people choose to press charges, some people don't choose to press charges, and whatever they do choose, that's something they have to live with the rest of their lives. And so as a social worker or even as a family member or a friend, the biggest thing that you can do is be there for them, support them and encourage them in whatever decision they do make. You know, there is no right or wrong. For each person, there is a completely different path to take that helps them with their healing and them coming to terms with it and then moving past it. But the biggest thing that you can do is not let it own you, not let it control your future and what it does to you, because then you're giving the people who victimized you more power. And the biggest way to take away that power is to not let them control whatever happens to you in the future. There's a lot of ways that people will tell you to, oh, you need to press charges, oh, you need to turn them in. And, you know, over the years, I've even had friends that have come out and said that they have been molested or sexually assaulted or harassment. Even the Me Too movement that has recently come out, I'm watching my Facebook feed and all these people are posting Me Too and these stories, and I just became overwhelmed because these were people I knew or people that I'd been, Facebook friends with for years, and I would have never imagined that all of this had been transpiring. I just didn't know. Even a social worker, someone who's trained to watch for different signs, if somebody's wanting to hide something, they're going to hide it. You know, that's probably one of the hardest social working lessons I had to learn, is that you could only help the ones that want to be helped. And people have to be ready to tell you their truth. And when the Me Too movement came out and everybody was saying everything that had happened to them, you get angry. You're just like, how did this even happen? How do I prevent this from happening to anyone else? And then you realize that that's how you prevent it from happening to anyone else. You speak your truth and you let people know what's going on, whether it be man or woman or child or adult or senior citizens. It happens to everyone. There is no discrimination when it comes to race or ethnicity or gender when it comes to sexual harassment and molestation. There is none. It happens across the board to everyone. And the best way to prevent that is to speak up against it. I had a friend just this week, and I've known him for years, love him to death, and he came out and said, I confronted this person because he molested me. And I went through with this man as he was dealing with alcoholism, and he's gone years sobriety and everything now. And you don't realize how those demons can affect you in the future until you're looking back in the past. So that's why the best thing to always do is, whether you tell the world or tell the police or tell someone, it's still to deal with it. You can't bury it, because it will resurface at some point. I work with seniors a lot now, helping them age in place, and you would be amazed, even the ones with dementia or Alzheimer's who have had those episodes and things go on in their life, that come back and you'll hear them talk about it. Our mind and our bodies are wonderful things. They're always working to try and heal themselves and to work through things, even when we're not allowing them to. So even as senior citizens, I've had clients who won't let people touch them, who won't let people give them baths, who won't let people change them. And they scream out people's names, because there were incidences in their lives where at some point or another they will talk to, or a family will come in and say, yeah, this happened to them back then. And you're like, now it clicks. Now it makes sense. This is, their mind still trying to work through and process what happened to them. And it's sad that, they didn't have a way to work through that when it happened, because then maybe they wouldn't still be in the condition that they are in now. To the young lady that I was telling you about earlier, she's moved on with her life, but even that was work. So the best thing that I would recommend is counseling, even if it's just you and a life coach, or you and a therapist, just you and a best friend, someone you can talk to. Don't hold it in. Don't keep it a secret. No matter what your victors tell you, don't believe it. Your family will always love you. They will always be there for you and support you. And if someone does act mad, you need to understand that sometimes they're angry at themselves for not catching it, for not seeing it. Especially if it's a family member or a loved one that they thought they could trust with you. So, but at the end of the day, beyond anything else, you need to understand it's not your fault. No matter what anybody says to you, no matter how you dress, no matter where you go or what you do, it is not your fault. And you need to put it behind you so that way it doesn't affect the rest of your future and your happiness. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters the most. Your happiness and well-being and the future you can give yourself.
So since last time we talked, I have been doing really, really well. It was pretty nice to finally get it out there, because nobody had known that I had went through this except for a therapist and the other person that was involved in it, and the police. But now that it's out there and everybody knows it's happened to me, I feel a sense of relief. I can finally talk about it. If somebody's been through the situation themselves, they know they can talk to me about it. I've gotten so many messages on Instagram, Facebook, everything since we started promoting this, about people that have been through the same situation that were too afraid to talk about it. And now it's out there and we can talk about it, and it still hurts and it's still awful, and it'll never be okay. But I'm doing better now that I've accepted it. And it feels so good to be able to talk to my mom about it, talk to my dad, anybody that didn't know that I wanted to be able to speak to before. I can be me, I can let them know that things have happened, that I am flawed, not everything's perfect as we try to put it out there. But it feels good to just know that, there are other people that have been through it. I have a support system, and I've accepted it, and I'm moving forward with my life.
Well, how I've been since the last time we actually met for Me Too, it's been pretty interesting. I'm about to finish college. I know before I mentioned that I was having trouble with school because of the experience I went through. And I get to graduate in spring, yay! And not only that, I've also been able to help local youth in Orange County, as well as different places and churches, and just people who come up to me and ask about the situation. Back then I wasn't able to talk about it as much, but ever since the Me Too Um, since the last time we filmed for Me Too, I'm sorry, I've been able to open up a bit more. I do still get very hesitant when people ask the question of how am I doing, kind of like now. But I've been able to develop a better character, a better judgment. I'm more aware of my surroundings. In school, I try to motivate people to always protect themselves and to always surround yourself with people who are always going to be there for you, especially when you need a friend for any situation, to actually have someone to speak to, because my issue was I didn't want to speak to anybody.
If there's anything I can leave you guys with, is that it's okay, you know? Push forward, talk about it. If you feel down one day, that's okay, you know? If you feel depressed, sad, if you need to cry, do it. It's okay. That's how we work through this, and talk to somebody. Talk to anybody, you know? And where you feel like you might be ashamed to admit it or talk about it, you were the victim. I was the victim. You know, I shouldn't feel that way, and be powerful. You know, it's going through this was horrible, but it made me strong. You know, I can take on anything. If I can deal with that and find my peace and forgive him, and I'm not forgiving him for himself, I'm forgiving him for me. And that feels so powerful.
Something motivational that I would like to give to everyone that is watching this documentary, man or woman. I want you to know that you are not alone in your situation. You will feel like this is something I need to take care of. I went through it too. And you guys are not alone. Me Too is a documentary to help you guys. And because of this documentary, I've been able to say, yes, I went through that situation. Me too. I went through that situation, but not in a happy way. It's been a way that I can motivate people to get themselves out there, to get help. Everyone has to have the courage to find help. And at the moment, you're going to say, like, no one's going to understand me. No one's going to know what I'm going through. You're right. No one knows that pain that you are going through, because that is the pain that you have to go through. But you are not alone. You can find your peace and your forgiveness. I'm not saying that it's going to be easy to forgive the person who has hurt you, but you do have to forgive yourself. You do have to uplift yourself and find yourself again. Get yourself on your feet and move forward, because if you don't move forward, you will drag yourself down and you will give power over those who try to come over you. So just know that you are not alone. You have people around you, and you do have a tomorrow. Tomorrow is a new day, and you don't have to stay in your past. You can move forward, and it's going to be hard. You are going to cry. You're going to get angry at people around you because you feel like they don't know what you're going through, but everybody loves you. You are not alone. You have family, you have friends, and you have people around you that you don't know that might be going through the same situation that you just went through. So just know that you are not alone.